today's episode is about, not about these guys, Chewy, it's about that. It's about photography prints and how I sell my photography prints on my website. This was my most popular episode of all time. You guys seem interested in it. I've made some changes to my website. I've learned some things, made some mistakes, gone back to some things I said in the first one. I'm going to talk about all that. I'm going to help you guys sell prints to your website. But first, I'm going to go feed my dogs. All right, guys, come on. Honey. All right, Mr. Chew over here. Chew. I've got to separate all the locations where I feed them because they've got little issues, especially the little guy Chew there. Well, they're all little, but Chew's got real issues, so he has to eat separately over there. A new guy, three-legged dog Bop, he has to eat over there. And Pawn, the old queen of the house, she eats separately here with a little bit of a lift, so it's easier on her neck. Okay, guys, first of all, just a couple things. Don't forget to check out my online store at justinmott.com, where I've got one-on-one sessions where I help people build their photography business. I help amateurs improve their photography. I've got my mentorship program for people looking for more of a masterclass, more of a long-term program with me. That's available. I also have 1-hour portfolio reviews. And lastly, I've got volume 2 of my Northern Vietnam photography workshop. It's going to be a high-end workshop with only 5 participants taking place here in Northern Vietnam, December 1st to December 7th. All that information is available in the description box below. So, first of all, try to discourage you. Not really. I'm not trying to discourage you. I just want to be honest. Okay, a couple things you're competing with. One, if you're an amateur trying to sell prints, you're competing with pros. And if you're competing with pros, you're competing with people that have shot at a high level for clients and have shot for prints and know probably the printing process better than you, and probably are just better photographers, to be honest, most of them. So that's number one. And those guys don't even do that well. Like for me, selling prints, it's such a small part of my business as a whole. It's such a small part of just my online store. So first things first, you're gonna have to decide if you wanna do limited edition prints, if you wanna enter that world of signed prints, and you're doing the printing yourself, and you're doing it at a high level, and you're editioning the prints, meaning there's only a certain amount that you'll allow to have printed, and those are gonna be at a higher value. But usually in order to sell edition prints, you're gonna have to have like wealthy friends, you're gonna have to have friends that wanna buy art, or you're gonna have to have a great relationship with a gallery that knows how to sell that stuff. Because honestly, I sell prints of my work, it's the same work. I just sell some of it through a gallery limited edition for thousands of dollars. Then I sell unedition prints of different work through my website for hundreds of dollars. So you're gonna have to make that decision. Do you want that like home run sale? Do you think you can get that? Do you think you have the networking capabilities or the connections to be able to pull that off? For me, I dabbled in that. I had a couple sales, but it hasn't been that fruitful. That's honestly, some people it has been, but very few. And for that, you're really gonna have to build a relationship with a good gallery. And then even that, you might have an exhibition like I did, and you might make a couple sales from that exhibition, but that's expensive to do. And then when that wears off, are the sales gonna continue? So that's something I still do a little bit, but where I generate most of my sales from and what I'm focusing on now is my online store. And there I sell prints for hundreds of dollars. I have the option for frame prints and I have the option for prints only. But let me rewind a little bit in how I started. So initially I started my website by just having prints are available for sale. I had no e-commerce set up on my site. I just said, email me if you're interested in buying any of the prints or any of the images you see on my website. And guess what? That didn't work because people like to buy impulsively. People like to buy after they've seen an episode like this, after I had my picture published in like a ad campaign. I sold a bunch of pictures. People want to do it then. They're excited about you, excited about your prints, or you in general, you might have met a friend and you showed them your photography and they said, oh, I just renovated my bedroom and I need some prints. They want to buy it then, right after that. That'll wear off. That's why Amazon does so well. People want to buy things quick and they want the process to be easy. So having to email me and then I would send them a rate sheet and then have to figure out the payment system through PayPal or bank transfer or run over my house and drop off cash just didn't work well. So then I switched to having an online store through my Squarespace site. Now this isn't a sponsored thing. I have no relationship with Squarespace and there's other e-commerce sites that work, but Squarespace worked for me. It was just easy to set up on the back end. And then yeah, they do take their fee. A lot of people complain about that, but for me, it's either that or nothing. So I decided to go with them. So I set it up very minimalistically on my website. Basically, I had a collection of my work, had about 50 images, and I would offer that in just a few sizes and then just a few different paper options. And I didn't want to deal with framing at all because it was just a pain. It was costly to ship.
But what I did was I made free shipping available worldwide, and I just adjusted the cost, and I just found different vendors in different countries. Now this worked for a little bit. The impulse buying did work. You had to drive it again, but just being able to have that quick and easy option on my website, people were purchasing prints. And what I found is while it was easy for the US and easy for Canada and somewhat easy for Europe as well, because I had a vendor that could fulfill my orders, not automated. You can do that, but I just wasn't doing that. I was doing it manually. A lot of people say, oh, it's such a pain in the butt and all that, but it's not really. A lot of these companies, like I used Whitewall in Europe, and I even used them a little bit in the US, and then I started using Printech, which is a brand related to Adorama photos, if you know that brand. And they make it pretty easy. I mean, I have all my pictures already uploaded in there. I just pick the size, pick the paper, put the address in, and 10 minutes I'm done and the order's fulfilled. So that was an option. That was working for a little bit, but what wasn't working was the random orders to other countries. Shipping to Japan, shipping to South America, shipping here within Southeast Asia. It just became quite difficult because it was tough to calculate the shipping. It was tough to get different vendors that I trusted, tough to get consistency. So then I went away from my own advice and I changed things, and I decided to just ship to the US and Canada and just use one company. I started using Printech, and then I made it automated through my website using their collaborative app thing that they have. And in theory, that was great, because in theory, someone could put the order in on my website, pick the paper, pick the size. It would automatically get fulfilled by Adorama. I could see the whole process there. I could see where it's at. The problem was that I took the bait from Adorama on all the different products they offered. They offered acrylic printing, metal printing, printing on wood blocks, printing on me personally, and I just go over and stand there and hang out on your wall. No, but they had like a gazillion products, and I thought, oh, this will be cool. Because it's all automated, I don't have to worry anymore. I could just put in everything on the back end. It took about a day to set up, and it wasn't that complicated. And then everything can auto sync. So once you have the infrastructure, it was pretty easy. But then I ran into more problems because I started to realize having all those products, I didn't want to have all of them in every single size within those products. And there was no way to or at least I couldn't figure it out. There was no way to have those products just not listed on your site, because the automated system, what it would do is it would offer all those products. And then if you didn't want one of those, a certain aspect ratio, a certain size, it would just show that product is out of stock. But because there's so many options, you just had tons of things out of stock, and it just became such a bad experience for the user. And so my sales dropped significantly. And this is something you guys should always be doing. Always be looking at what's working, looking at what's not, doing a little self-audit every few months. Having all of that just wasn't working at all. So what I did was I went back to my original advice, and I tweaked a couple things. I also noticed that people didn't want just prints. In the first series, in my first iteration of my store, I just had prints for sale. But some people wanted frame prints, and I didn't want to deal with that, but I found that Adorama could fulfill that and do frame prints and do it quite nicely. The only thing I couldn't do was sign those prints, but that was okay. I felt like offering it at a low price. It's okay to not have these pictures signed. And I also looked at the data and realized most of my clients were in the US and Canada, and Printech could fulfill all those orders. So I switched from the automated system, went back to fulfilling it manually myself on the back end. So I went in, did my calculations for shipping. They do it all for you on there. You can check all that out, and then you just figure out what your markup price is, how much you want to make off of each print, whether it be 300%, 400%, 1,000%, whatever you want. I mean, that's kind of up to you. Again, everyone's going to be kind of different. Most people, I think, do about 300 to 800%, they say. So that's what I do now. Through my website now, you can buy frame prints at 3 different sizes. I use the same paper, and then I also offer just prints only, again, 3 different sizes and only 1 paper. I decided to also limit the amount of prints on there just to make the choice easy. So you see the theme here. I wanted to make the entire process simple and easy. I don't want to have 100 different prints on there. So I'm taking it down now to about 15 to 20. I'm actually in the process of updating it right now. And then those images will rotate based on sales. So when an image isn't selling, I'll bump that down. When an image is selling more, I'll bump that up on the list. So I decided to go with the images quite big, have a little description of the images on there, make that kind of fun, and then just a couple different options to choose from. I didn't want people to have to understand or research different types of paper, like glossy, matte, luster, and understand what those differences are. I don't want them to have to Google stuff, because that's just one more reason for them not to buy. So I've stripped everything down to make it easy, and since I've done that a couple months ago, sales are back and they're growing, and it's worked for me. So I wanted to give this update to you guys, because a lot of you guys were interested, a lot of you guys do want to sell. I don't want to discourage you guys out there, you amateurs, from trying to sell your prints. I was just trying to be brutally honest about the market and set expectations. Anyone could sell, and I think your best chances for selling are within your close-knit group first. People that you know, people that have a personal connection to, your family, friends, friends of friends, things like that. Yeah, it's good to have it. So I don't want to discourage you. It's fine to compete with the pros. I know plenty of pros with great pictures that don't sell, and people with not great pictures that sell really well. So it's all about your networking. We'll have to drive sales. You will have to tell people you sell prints. You will have to talk about on your Instagram and on your YouTube like I'm doing right now to drive sales. It's a hustle. But, it's a nice little side hustle. Those images are just sitting in my archive, not doing anything. So I want to make them work for me. I want to put them to work, and I have been. It's been working. So that's my updated version. If you guys have any questions about my Squarespace setup, about the way I'm selling prints through my website, let me know in the comments section. I try to answer every single question that comes through. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to sign up for my workshop. Don't forget to check out my online store, my prints, my one-on-one classes, all that stuff. Thank you guys. Don't forget to have a wonderful day.